In the face of loss, who are you? Who do you become? Who have you become? Who are you when you feel you've lost? And who are you when you lost a friend or a love? When you've lost a pet or a job or an opportunity? How do you move through the world when you've experienced loss? And do you distinguish between when you feel lost and you've lost something? Can you distinguish between what it feels like to be in loss versus feeling lost? And what about your reputation? Have you ever felt like you lost that? Have you ever lost your integrity or lost your dignity? Who did you become when that experience occurred? Who do you become when you feel you are losing love or money or respect or time or energy? Do you change? Do you alter in any way? Do you hold on tighter or do you give up and let go? What happens to you? Just notice. Maybe take a breath, breathe into it, and check in with yourself. How do you respond to life in the face of loss? None of us seem to be exempt from this. We've all lost something. We've all experienced loss. I mean, we know that, right? Grief and loss are a part of the human experience. It's going to happen, unfortunately. But who are we when it's happening? And how do we shift and how do we change? Or do we stay the same? How does loss impact us physiologically? Some people stop eating, some people overeat, some people stop exercising, some people go to the gym, constantly when they're grieving because they don't want to deal with it. Some people get in the best shape of their lives, some people get too thin, some people become overweight. How does loss affect you? I was working with someone recently. We did some serious work around her healing herself and her self image and forgiving herself for some things. And we really did a beautiful job of syncing her brain with her body and her nervous system and clearing all of the parts, all of the subtle bodies. So her physical and energetic and emotional and mental bodies were working together instead of working against each other. And she incorporated her spiritual and her soul body and her God belief, her God essence particles. Everything was in sync. We did this amazing healing. And then about a week later, her dog, her beloved dog of 13 years, passed away. And so, right after doing this incredible healing, she was experiencing loss. And we met, and she said, "This is very hard for me, and I'm definitely grieving, but I'm able to distinguish the loss of my dog from the overwhelming, debilitating grief that I used to be in." She was able to feel the grief and loss over her pet, and she knew it would take a little bit of time to work through it. But she said, "It's simply the loss of my dog, who I adored, who I loved, but it's not debilitating grief that's going to take over my life and consume me and result in depression." She was able to distinguish that she was having a normal experience, a normal reaction to losing, a dog, which was basically a family member to her. And yet it didn't have to result in her not being able to go to work or not being able to drive her kids to school. She was able to let grief and loss be what they are. And she was able to hold space for herself. And and make the choice. I'm going to be here as long as I need to be here, but I also recognize that it doesn't have to consume my life and ruin my life. So we may not always have the answers to these questions, like who am I in the face of loss and how do I handle loss? But healing is always within the breath. So I'm going to invite you, regardless to what loss you've experienced recently or in the recent past or the distant past, whether it was a loss of a person, a loss of a pet, a loss of a home, a loss of a job, a loss of a love. However, loss has shown up in your life, I invite you in this moment to just breathe, to take a nice breath in through the nose and out through the nose. Give yourself permission in these next few moments to oxygenate your brain and your blood and your bones with each and every breath. Expand the breath without any pressure or force, and deepen and widen the breath, but allow it to just be an alignment that's happening between your brain and your body. Allow your lungs to fill with air on your inhales and to release on your exhales, but don't force yourself, don't stress. Just let the brain and body and nervous system sync with breath. Oxygenate your cells, oxygenate your organs. Drop the shoulders down away from the ears. On your inhales, try and calm the body. And on your exhale, see if you can calm the mind. As you breathe and you think about loss, I'd like you to consider, who are you now? Breathe into that. Inhale and exhale. And how do you choose to move through the world now, my friend? Inhale. Exhale. We don't have to have all of the answers, but there is healing in the breath. Who are you now? And how do you choose to move through the world now, despite any loss that you may have experienced? And as you breathe, just know that your brain and your body, your nervous system, the subconscious parts of the brain, all of the time you've been on this planet, all of the experience that you've had, creates collective wisdom so that you can move through and navigate every aspect of your life, even the messy parts, even the hard things. You can do hard things. Breathe. You are fully capable of moving through any loss that you've experienced or you are experiencing. Inhale and exhale. Trust the wisdom that is embedded in your body and in your psyche and in your heart space. Trust that you are fully capable of navigating this experience and many others that you will have. Trust that the highest parts of you are always available to you if you allow them to be present. And breathing in through the nose, exhaling through the mouth. Do that 2 more times. Inhale in through the nose and sighing out of the mouth. Releasing, relaxing, settling in and just noticing that in the face of loss, in this present moment, it's like this now. It's just simply like this. It feels like this.